Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with the Sig MPX in 9mm. If you go back to our gauntlet test on this firearm, not this particular one, but one just like it, when we put the gun in water, brought it out, it would fail to extract and eject that spent case for the first or second round, and then the gun would start working normally. And then at the end of the test, we thought, well, how much water does it really take to cause the MPX to malfunction? I literally went in the house and got a tablespoon of water and put it in the barrel, and it caused the gun to hydrolock. So Sig had seen that video and they contacted me, which was really good of them to do. And they said, that problem is a problem we were aware of, and that's something we have since rectified. Because I'd made mention in the video about perhaps this is the reason why the MPX didn't fare well against the B&T, the winner of the U.S. Army submachine gun contract, and Sig assured me that wasn't the case. Again, they had rectified the issue. So Sig promised to send me a brand new production gun. So this one was manufactured, I think, in November or so of this year. And they sent me a brand new gun that would have the fix in it. Now, we're going to talk about some dates and stuff later in the video and try to give you guys an idea of whether or not your gun may or may not have the fix in it. But we don't even know if the fix works yet because we've not put water in the barrel yet. So we're going to do that in this video. So let's get started off by doing a little bit of shooting with some Federal ammunition. We're going to use the same ammo we used in the gauntlet test, and this is some Federal 9mm. Federal does supply the ammunition to the channel for free. We want to thank them for doing that. I've been using Federal my entire life, and it's a real pleasure to work with them and have them supply ammunition to the channel. All right, so let's do a little bit of shooting here. The gun has run fine since I picked it up, and I've put several hundred rounds through it just to confirm function. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty, put some water in the barrel, and see if this gun works. Guys, please swing by and check out Big Daddy Unlimited, BDU. They help support us here at the Military Arms Channel with products and things like that so we can continue to bring you content. There's a link in the video description down below that'll take you to the Mac blog and website. Please follow that link, and from there you'll find a link to Big Daddy Unlimited, and try them out just for 99 cents. You can see what they're all about. In essence, they're just like a big online store that has amazing prices. So please, again, check out BDU. What we're about to do is potentially very dangerous. We're going to violate one of the safety rules. But we did this in the gauntlet test, and this is the only way to actually conduct this test. But please don't do this at home, and don't try to replicate the test that we're doing here this afternoon. Just watch the video and you'll see the outcome. There's no need to do it. With that being said, this gun was sent to me by Sig. The only thing I've changed on it is that I put a Midwest Industries rail out here, handguard, and that's because I wanted a little bit more area for my left hand, and I wanted to kind of cover up some of the suppressor length because I'm going to keep running it suppressed, at least for the time being. Other than that, this gun is all the same internally. It's all Sig parts. And so now what I'm about to do is load the weapon, and I'm going to pour some water in the barrel. I have to have the round in the chamber to replicate the test that we did during the gauntlet tests, and this is where things get a little bit sketchy. So again, please don't do this at home. It's 124 grain Federal ball. Weapon is unsafe. All right, the barrel's completely full of water, and let's see what happens. Barrel's completely full of water. They fixed it. They definitely fixed it. So, what did they do? Well, we had already taken the guns apart to try to see what differences there were between a Copperhead, the gun that BDU sent us at the beginning of the year, just right around the outbreak of the whole COVID thing, and this gun. And I think we figured out what changes Sig made to the gun. So let's talk a little bit about that. When we took 3 guns apart, we took apart the Copperhead, which I'm going to say is about 1.5 years old. We took apart the Big Daddy gun that was sent to us for the Gauntlet testing, and Jason's still using and shooting that, has over 1,500 rounds through it. It's firing really well. The only thing that we've seen when we took the guns apart today to compare the gas systems is that his gun has some pretty nasty gouging going on in the receiver, and we don't attribute that to the Gauntlet test. Dirt and sand, which are the most abrasive materials, weren't really even in there. There was just very little when we took it apart and cleaned it, and certainly wasn't big enough granules to cause that type of gouging. It looks like steel on aluminum potentially causing that issue. I'll show you some pictures of it. But other than that, there were really no differences that we could see in the gun. All 3 guns on the end of their, and we're going to show you some pictures here. We're not going to take the gun apart for you on camera outside and cold, but we'll show you some pictures of what we're talking about. So we took a look at the pistons themselves, where the little piston pops out of it, the gas block taps on the face of the bolt carrier and cycles the gun. All 3 have deep flutes in that piston rod. So that wasn't the difference. We thought perhaps that was the issue. We took a look at the bolts and the carriers, everything we could, trigger groups, recoil springs, everything. And all 3 guns looked identical. We even took a look down the barrel to look at the gas ports to see where the gas ports were and what size those gas ports were. They all looked about the same. The barrel on this one's only about 1 inch longer than the original Copperhead barrel, but this is the same barrel length as the gun that we tested in the Gauntlet. So then we took the barrels out of the receivers of all the guns, and then we discovered the difference. The gas block on this gun has a long slot that vents the excess gas. Think of an AK-47. On the gas tube, you have holes in the top of the gas tube that vents excess gases after the gun starts to cycle. This gun is no different. Once it gets enough gas to cycle the action, the excess gas is vented off on 2 holes on either side of the gas block. Well, holes with the exception of this gun. There are small holes on the Copperhead and the original MPXK, but on this one we have long slots cut into the gas block. So it's venting more gas and potentially venting that water that is causing that piston to hydrolock and not get enough energy or inertia going to tap that carrier back to get it to cycle. The only difference we could find, and that has to be the change. Now it boils down to, how do you find out if your gun has that fix or not? This gun was built sometime in November of this year. The Big Daddy gun was built in 2020, probably early 2020, and the Copperhead was built mid to late 2019. And they all have the older gas blocks that will hydrolock if you put water in the barrel, as little as a tablespoon. This gun, built in November, has that gas block. Now, I don't know if they made the transition at some point in 2020 for the civilian guns. I would imagine these are the gas blocks they used a couple of years ago during the military trials for the submachine gun. But I don't know how to tell you to look for, or how to find if your gun is cut or not for water operation without taking the barrel out. But it's a simple process to do. Take your handguard off. You have 2 T25 screws going through the receiver that hold the barrel in place. Remove those, your barrel assembly will slide out, then look on the side of the gas block and you'll see the gas port. If it's that long slot, your gun will work with water in the barrel. If it's just a small hole on either side, for both the long slot and the small hole, they'll be present on both sides of the gas block. If it has that little hole, chances are it's not going to work with as little as a tablespoon of water in there. So that's how I think the gun works with the water in there. It's our best guess. Sig didn't give us any details. I talked to some other folks that had spoken to people on the development team of the MPX, and they said it had something to do with the gas piston. It's not the piston, it's the gas block the piston rides in, as far as we can tell. Good news is, it does work. Aha! They are fun guns to shoot, man. But yeah, so hopefully those pictures help you guys understand what's going on, why it's working the way it's working or not working when submerged in water, and how you can find out if your MPX has the improvements to allow over the beach operation of the firearm. This is the original Gauntlet gun that Big Daddy Unlimited had sent out to us and that Jason has continued to shoot. And again, it's running just fine outside of the water. We've loaded up some 124 grain ammunition. We're just going to see if we run into the same problem today. Again, guys, do not do what we're about to do. What I'm doing is potentially very unsafe because I do have a live round in the chamber. All right, full of water. All right, so there you go. That time, only the first round failed to extract. Sometimes we'd see the first 2 rounds fail to extract, but the gun cleans itself out fairly quickly. I think we've identified the difference between the newest generation of the MPX and the older generation guns. Now keep in mind, Sig makes sometimes pretty significant generational changes to their firearms, but they don't change the nomenclature. They don't make it the MPX A1 or anything like that. So you don't really know what version of the gun you have and what changes it may have in it. Like in this case, the long slot gas port versus the hole gas port in the older generation guns. I don't know if you can call up Sig with your serial number and find out. I don't know, but here's my recommendation. The MPX blazed through the gauntlet with the one exception of hydrolocking after being dunked in the water. If it malfunctioned, it would fail to extract that first round, sometimes the second round, but then the gun cleared itself out and started to work. But when you put it in sand, dirt, and mud, the thing aced the test. And that's kind of part of the fun of those types of tests. But we did uncover something I thought that was rather different about the MPX that surprised me. Now, don't go cutting on your gas block trying to replicate that long cut in the gas block of the newest gun. You could very easily damage the gun and cause it not to function properly, and I doubt Sig is going to be very sympathetic to you and replace it for free. You're going to have to buy a new barrel and gas block, and Lead We Trust sells them for over 400 bucks. So don't go drilling on your gun. I would keep it even if it has the older gas block. It's not that big of an issue. Most of you aren't going to be walking around with your muzzles up in the rain anyway. All right, with that being said, guys, would you please like, share, and subscribe to our videos? It really does help. Comment down below and let me know how your MPX is running. Do you like the gun? Does it work good for you with the suppressor? Let us know. I really like to hear what you guys have to say. We are supported by you, our viewing audience, not by the big gun companies like Sig and things like that. We're supported by you so we can continue to bring you honest and unbiased information as humanly possible, and we do that through Patreon. There is a link in the video description below. Also, right here on YouTube, underneath the video player you're watching right now, there's a join button. Click that join button and become part of our YouTube family as well. And last but not least, guys, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. And thank you for 12 years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon, right after we get done doing akimbo MPXs. Wow, that didn't go quite as well as I had hoped. I'm not very good at akimbo. Thanks for watching, guys.